I'm Jamie McDonald. Join me as we celebrate small businesses that make New York so unique. These New York Originals. In a forgotten section of Soho, near the Hudson River, it's hard to believe that this used to be the epicenter of America's seafaring trade. Nearby docks were filled with longshoremen and ships, sending and receiving goods from around the world. The docks and their warehouses are pretty much gone now, replaced by the West Side Highway and luxury condos. But there's at least one holdout that still remains. An old longshoremen's bar that's remarkably well preserved. And boy, does it have some stories to tell. The Ear Inn is first and foremost a neighborhood bar, but it is also living history, a snapshot of New York City's colorful past.
The place is all authentic. Look around. You can see the history.
And even today, it is revealing new things about itself.
It's the quintessential historical New York bar. It's full of real artifacts going all the way back to the 17th century, and it's got a great crowd.
The Ear Inn was built in 1817. At that time, the Hudson River was just 5 feet from its doorstep.
This is a typical Federal-era townhouse, which means it's a 3-story building with a brick facade, all wood, timber frame, post and beam construction. There's about 6 of this era left in the city.
And just like any true American, the Ear Inn has gone through a number of transformations.
It was owned by a free black whose name was James Brown, and he ran a tobacco shop downstairs. He was actually an aide to George Washington, and there are historians that think that it's James Brown who's in the famous painting of Washington crossing the Delaware. He's rowing the boat and sort of is in 3/4 profile. And then when he died, the building went through several different evolutions. It was a boarding house, and it was a flop house, and then eventually it became a bar because we're talking about the neighborhood down there, which is the waterfront. Lots of sailors, lots of prostitutes.
The bar lumbered on through the centuries, always with a rough and tumble reputation. For many years, it didn't even have a proper name.
And the old-timers know it as the Green Door. And it was only open when I first moved in here, Monday through Friday from about 5 in the morning till noon. It was a morning bar, they call it. So when you got up, went to work, punched in on the Union Hall, which was around the corner of the Longshoremen and the Sailors Union, then they'd wait for the call to see whether they're going to have any work, and they'd come here. They didn't let any strangers, young people, or women in, which is not the rule now, is it? It's still the same, all right. See, we like strange young women. Now they're served readily.
As you can see, the building was given new life when Rip Heyman came into the picture.
When I moved in 1973 as a college sophomore, it was collapsing. I got in because I told the bartender I'd fix the roof if he let me live upstairs.
But the place did have some things going for it.
These are old-growth spruce, so the wood was harvested late 1700s, but the wood itself may be up to 400 years old. So it has about 4 times the structural strength of any current wood, which is all cut young and hasn't hardened. And so the house may have been saved by the quality of the wood.
They also christened it with a new name, the Ear Inn.
The neon sign used to be just bar, and then we were publishing a music magazine called Ear Magazine. So we went out there and painted the ends of the B with black paint. So B became E, became named Bar. That was partly because the Landmarks Commission wouldn't allow any new sign, but I asked them, can we subtract from the existing sign to rename it? So it became the Ear Inn, Ear Bar. The old-timers never noticed. They all thought it just was busted.
But the restoration was only part of the plan. The owners have also worked hard documenting the Ear Inn's history, and a lot of that knowledge is coming from below.
We've been digging in the basement, and just this last year found a lot of colonial-era artifacts.
We had a ball down there. We stopped, we had the construction workers. It took us 2 more months than it should have because we did it by hand then. We'd go down at night time and we had a ball.
And when they discovered original wooden colonial-era sidewalks, they promptly refitted them outside the bar. But not all their finds were from colonial times.
We found a gun, a revolver gun in the chimney, probably ditched after some crime. You don't throw a good gun away just because you don't like the look of it.
The Ear Inn recently got a lucky break. New neighbors. Most of the time, preservationists do not like it when modern buildings go up in historical neighborhoods. But this time, it was a blessing. The new neighbor is the Urban Glass House, famed architect Philip Johnson's last creation. And as part of the land deal, financiers agreed to help shore up the Ear Inn's structural integrity, put on a new roof, and renovate the basement. Maintenance that was desperately needed. And as this little federal building in the out-of-the-way place continues to entertain and fascinate, its caretakers are making sure to share and carry on its eclectic legacy by hosting artist events regularly, some of which have attracted the likes of John Lennon, Tom Waits, and Allen Ginsberg. And as the decades roll by, the Ear Inn's purpose in the city gets more evident.
It's not the glitz and the glamour, but it's the warmth and the camaraderie and the friendship. And you can get a great glass of beer in here, and you can get a great meal, and interesting characters from all walks of life.
New York needs to have a point of history. This is where this happened. This is why this is what it is. People have to see it. It's living. It isn't dead. It's not just the past. It's now, but it's a living history.
The Ear Inn is more than just a place to tip a few back and have a bite to eat. They now have several nights a week live music, including jazz on Sundays.